For those who refuse to trust books like Desire of Ages, Great Controversy versions 1888 and 1911, Patriarchs and Prophets and Kings, I have a question. Will you trust these other sources, which mention some of these books in a positive light? Review and Herald, January 20th, 1903 says, the larger books, Patriarchs and Prophets, Great Controversy, and Desire of Ages, should be sold everywhere. Review and Herald, July 14th, 1903 says, last Sabbath an intelligent-looking man in the home said to one of the workers, I have found a better way of spending my time. I have given up liquor drinking and am reading The Desire of Ages. Letter 229 from 1903 says, in the night season, matters have been presented to me regarding the books Patriarchs and Prophets and Great Controversy. It has been my prayer that we might receive light and counsel from the Lord and be led and guided by Him as to how far we should go in making changes for a new and improved edition of these books. General Conference Bulletin, April 5th, 1901 says, the next time I visited him, he told me that he had read part of Patriarchs and Prophets. He said, I lend them to all my neighbors, and the hotel keeper thinks that Great Controversy is the best. But, he said, while his lips quivered, I think that Patriarchs and Prophets is the best. Letter 217 from 1899 says, I am placing Desire of Ages, Great Controversy, Patriarchs and Prophets, and Christ our Savior in families. So while the ministers are working against me, I will speak in my writings to the people. Letter 23A from 1893 says, I gave him my books, Great Controversy, Patriarchs and Prophets, and Steps to Christ. Pacific Union Recorder, November 6, 1902 says, Daniel and the Revelation, Great Controversy, Patriarchs and Prophets, and Desire of Ages should now go to the world. Review and Herald, February 16, 1905, Article A says, Patriarchs and Prophets, Daniel and the Revelation, and Great Controversy are needed now as never before. Southern Watchman, January 23, 1902 says, he brought her the book Patriarchs and Prophets, and she read it, and with joy told him, I found it. I have found that I can trust in Jesus Christ. I have found that he will receive me just as I am. Letter 1, 1890 says, now Volume 1, or Patriarchs and Prophets, is ready for circulation. But even for this book, I will not allow Volume 4 to remain longer as a light under a bushel. Manuscript 53 in 1890 says, when I returned, I found letters awaiting me. One from Edson stated that my account at the office had swelled to the enormous sum of $7,000. This is, much of it, in publishing Volume 4, Great Controversy, and Patriarchs and Prophets, which they have not handled, but have let fall dead from the press, while Bible readings has been extolled, and all the canvassers have been educated to work for it. Manuscript 40 from 1891 says, what can they mean to drop the Patriarchs and Prophets and Great Controversy and say they have decided to handle only one book, which is Bible readings to occupy the field at one time? Letter 15 from 1895 says, when you insisted that you were doing all in your power to bring Great Controversy and Patriarchs and Prophets before the people, I knew your statements to be untrue. Manuscript 131 from 1899 says, a large sum of money was spent in illustrating the Desire of Ages, but this work will not be repeated. And finally, in Selected Messages Book 3, it says, how many have read carefully Patriarchs and Prophets, the Great Controversy, and the Desire of Ages? This is by no means a complete list of all the quotes speaking of these books in a positive manner. And so I ask, what will you do with these quotes? Will you ignore the light and declare these sentences as uninspired? Will you destroy these sentences or perhaps strike out entire paragraphs? Or how about this next quote from the Review and Herald, September 17th, 1889, which says, "This article, like that published last week, is from Sister White's forthcoming work, Patriarchs and Prophets." This last source does something altogether different. Rather than speaking about the books, the article here quotes directly from the book itself. Will you now toss out articles even as early as 1889? Will you get rid of the Review and Herald altogether? Not every source is as forthcoming as this quote here found in the Review and Herald is. For example, Ministry of Healing, published in 1905, quotes directly from Desire of Ages numerous times without making a single reference to the book. How numerous are these sources in these quotes? How is one to believe that Ellen White missed all of this? Not one church member ever went up to her in over 20 years within the Seventh-Day Adventist Church, mentioning any of the supposedly edited books, thus prompting an immediate and strong response from her? Not a single faithful pioneer brought it to her attention? It's not like they didn't know about it. Pioneers such as A.T. Jones and Jan Loughborough quoted directly from these supposed edited books. The Desire of Ages alone was mentioned by many individuals such as R.H. Thompson, A.T. Jones, J.M. Johansen, William Prescott, A.T. Robinson, Willie White, and Louis Hoops. All these individuals and more were aware of these books and articles published while she was alive, but Ellen White either doesn't know about it or never cares enough to say anything about it. This is the same woman who called out a singular sentence being misprinted in the youth instructor, and also went directly to rebuke the SDA leaders who were thinking to negatively edit the American Sentinel. This same woman allowed entire books to be written in her name without ever sharply rebuking the SDA leaders for daring to do such a thing. She never mentioned one book as untrustworthy. That is literally impossible. Thank you for watching. God bless.